On Tuesday, November 12, 2024, at exactly 12:30 p.m. Central African Time, the Diocese of Kumba received some august guests: Luis Sisto, Kinga von Schiested, and Jack Besse, delegates of the Aid to the Church in Need, with acronym ACN, came visiting. The ACN is an international Catholic pastoral aid organization whose general secretariat and project headquarters is in Germany. Every year, the organization offers financial support to more than 5,000 pastoral-oriented projects worldwide. The Diocese of Kumba has benefited and continues to benefit from sponsorship through the ACN. Some of the benefits include providing some financial aid for the training of seminarians in seminaries, providing financial assistance for the training of catechists, providing financial assistance for the retreat of priests, providing mass stipends and intentions to be exonerated by priests, providing a service vehicle for the family apostolate, sponsored Bibles, 1,500 African Bibles, and 5,000 children's Bibles titled God Speaks to His Children, just to name but these. They came to evaluate projects sponsored and to assess projects for possible sponsorship in the future, but also to see for themselves the reality on the ground. Upon their arrival, the bishop welcomed them and took them into his office for a brief stop. Thereafter, in the conference room, the bishop painted a picture of the diocese to the guests and enumerated projects sponsored by the ACN in the diocese.
Okay, good. You say you like the heat. And,
yes.
Jacques, I suppose.
Yeah.
Jacques, yeah, then Luis, already. So I wish to welcome you to the Diocese of Kumba. And this diocese was created in 2016. It's just about 8 years old, precisely on the 15th of March 2016. And I was installed, I came here as bishop on the 7th of May 2016. And at that time, we had 20 parishes and with 37 priests. 20 parishes with 37 priests and 26 seminarians actually at that time. 26 seminarians in 2016. Yes, 2016. Then about, I would say 3 months after my installation, the socio-political crisis broke in. There's the civil war, and it was so difficult to begin a diocese without the bishop's house. This is actually the convent of the Holy Rosary Sisters, where I'm staying. And actually I did some extension. Where we are sitting was the extension I made in order to have meetings. Yes, and then the other side, the extension I made to accommodate some bishops when they pass around. And since then, the crisis has continued. And in 2017, 28 parishes, or 28 villages actually, were razed down, they were burned down. And we had a good number of internally displaced. Some ran to town, to Kumba here, then some ran to out of Kumba to safer zones and all those. Then we have many of the children, orphans who are in our primary schools. Often, I don't think you have a family in Kumba town area here without at least 1 or 2 internally displaced.
What and where would the diocese have been without the support of the ACN? Mindful that it is a newly created diocese with a rough topography and still in a crisis zone.
And the parish, the fourth parish at Papa was burnt, the parish house was burnt down. with all the documents, registers, baptism, confirmation. Church in Need too has sponsored, the priest is now in Rome for the Tichanji Cyril. Yes, he's doing systematic theory, yes. He's doing that, so he's in Regina Apostolorum in Rome. Yes. So I'm really thankful to the Church in Need. Then we also got mass intentions from the Church in Need in 2019. We got 1,650, and in 2018, we got 2,300 mass intentions. That was about 18,400 euros, and it helped us a lot. That was a very difficult time, as I was explaining, where some parishes were closed, and some priests did not have, and most of the priests, they are from the income for their livelihood is also from mass tithing. So it helped me a lot, yes, to keep them going. Yeah, so I'm very thankful for that. Then, Church in Need sponsored the purchase of African Bibles. Yes, about 1,500 of them, and 5,000 children's Bible.
Yes, we need.
Yeah, you're right. Family Life Apostolate is one of the most recent ones. It is that has helped them a lot because we have the Christian family movement. It's a very strong group. Yes, and with this crisis, a number of families, they had a lot of challenges. And it was difficult for them to reach some places for security and at the same time, the means of transportation. So when they are going out as a leader family, they may get leaders of Christian family movement, a marriage encounter, and go along with them. So that when they are having seminars and all the sessions, they have to help some of those families.
Of course, the delegates sought to know and understand better. Therefore, questions were asked for clarity and understanding, to which the bishop provided answers.
I wonder where we could have been. Yes, you have helped us a lot, and I must express my gratitude.
They then moved over to the Diocesan Pastoral Center, where they were welcomed by some heads of services, the Justice and Peace Coordinator, the Pastoral Center Management, and some catechists.
Yeah. Luis. Okay. Nice to meet you, Luis.
It's called Mickey Paul.
Ashu, the coordinator of the family life. Lunch marked the end of the first session.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Bless us and bless us about receiving bless us Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Beginning at 4 p.m., the second session comprised of presentations from different services and commissions. First was the Family Apostolate. The ACN sponsored the purchase of a new vehicle for the apostolate and were pleased to know that the car is of great assistance. The Family Apostolate also described its activities geared towards helping families and outlined areas where they would need financial support from the ACN, especially in the domain of training couples in family life education and natural family planning. Then, the Caritas office presented a report, especially mentioning facts and figures of affected persons of the crisis and the humanitarian work they embark on. This was of keen interest to the delegates. Next was Father Leonard Ekwele, the Catholic Education Secretary of the Diocese of Kumba. Then, Reverend Father Raphael Kole Njumbe, who is the vicar for the catechists. That marked the end of day one. The next day, Wednesday, November 13, 2024, first for presentations was the Youth Chaplain and Vocations Director, Reverend Father Joseph Suganong, who presented his words of gratitude for the constant support received from the ACN in training the seminarians. He also presented a picture of the Youth Apostolate and how they have embarked on some projects for self-reliance. Next was the Justice and Peace Commission. The coordinator presented a report of the pastoral activities carried out by the commission, especially in the prisons, how they embark on training the inmates in different trades in order to help them when they get out of prison to find something doing for themselves. and also how much the struggle to train and to help vulnerable women in society have something to do in life. Then Father Roger Barr of the Biblical Apostolate, who presented his report thanking the ACN for the gift of the Bibles and how much the Bibles are of service to the Christians. Then the sisters of St. Therese of the Child Jesus of Boya were also present, thanking the ACN for many sponsored projects. After the presentation from the different services and departments, they had a guided tour around the inside of the administrative block of the Pastoral Center, moving from office to office and seeing things for themselves. They made a stop at the education office, they made a stop at the Caritas office, and also made a stop at Radio Evangelium.
To meet you.
Thank you.
Visiting the diocese.
Great.
I can't take him to.
Your department, this is where the radio is.
You have live broadcasting?
Yes, we.
Very nice. And when you are on break, do you send out something else?
No, we switch off
They
completely,
just switch off. Yeah.
then return at 3 p.m.
Yeah. I'll be with them on the Feast of Christ the King, because that's the day the Pope Francis said we should celebrate with the youth. The pastoral formation team. Then, yeah. Then here is the.
After lunch, they went visiting some church projects under construction in the diocese. First was the bishop's house at Kosala that is under construction.
Ritual, then some visitors will speak for some of the elderly, for priesthood, and of course yes. We complete the fence. Yeah, then this.
From the bishop's house in Kosala, the drive took them to St. John Paul II Parish, Kang Barombi, whose church building is also under construction. From Kang Barombi, the drive led the delegates to St. Joseph Pastoral Zone. There also, the church is under construction.
Yeah.
The last stop was at the Sacred Heart Cathedral. Yes, work has not begun, but it is in the pipeline. Much needs to be done to refurbish the cathedral. The roof, without a ceiling, the moment it rains, it makes it difficult for anyone sitting in the church to listen to whatever is said.
I'll put the kind of an arch here like this, and these walls, I'll break them, and then you have a little arch of the same.
And of course, much has to be done in terms of refurbishing the windows that are also dilapidating. From the cathedral, they made a final stop at the presbytery for a cup of coffee. Yes, they came, they saw, they evaluated, and here now is an assessment of what they saw. Let us listen to Kinga.
You know, when we travel, on one hand, of course, we see or we look maybe at projects that Aid to the Church in Need has sponsored, but there are also projects that you cannot evaluate, like spiritual retreat. How do you evaluate a spiritual retreat if it bears fruit? Only God can do that. How do you evaluate exactly a formation of seminarians? So these are things that you cannot really evaluate in percentage. But of course, there are other things that you can see. For instance, when our donors donated a car and we see the car, then it makes us happy. Or we hear especially the testimonies of how useful this car has been. Or construction projects where you can see that it's going on, that it's growing, and how much these things have helped the Catholic Church in Kumba to implement its mission. So we are very, very happy to see these things. We are very privileged also to see these things, because in the end, it's not my money, it's not my colleagues' money, it's the money that comes from our donors, and we are the ones who are privileged to see how these donations can bear its fruits. We're very much impressed about what the diocese is doing. So we have spoken to different departments or offices, or I don't know how you call them, with different priests, sisters, layperson, and each of them had around 1 hour to express or to explain what they're doing, and it's really wonderful and very encouraging to see what the diocese is doing in the different fields of its mission, how the diocese, the priests, the sisters, the bishops, the brothers are helping the lay people to grow in their faith, but also helping them in their different challenges, especially during or after the crisis. This is one thing. So we saw how wonderful the projects that the diocese are doing are. And the second thing, what we take back to our country, a big hope, I would say, because we come from Europe, from countries where unfortunately the faith is going down. And with that, of course, less and less people who are engaged in helping the Catholic Church. We were very lucky to be here at the Pastoral Center while there is a program for the catechists, and seeing so many catechists being here together for 1 week to study, to learn, to grow in their faith, so that then they can share with their different communities. I think this is something very unique for us to see, and something that we do not experience so much in our countries. The heat. It's quite warm here. And something that really struck me was more on the way coming to Kumba, how many houses are still there with the bullet holes, and this is of course a result of the crisis, and that is, when you see this with your own eyes, you understand better, or at least you get a glimpse of that, what has been happening here. I think this is something that has touched us.
Thank you very much, Kinga. The Diocese of Kumba is very honored to have had your presence, and we wish you traveling mercies when you return. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
On Thursday, the 14th of November 2024 at 9 a.m., it was departure time. For those who know picture composition, nothing happens by chance. They came into the Diocese of Kumba in a black car, not knowing what to find, not knowing exactly what to see, but they were living in a white car. They saw, and they are satisfied with what they saw. We pray that God grants them traveling mercies, and that from what they have seen, when projects are written from the Diocese of Kumba, those projects will be treated with emergency. Because indeed, the Diocese of Kumba is a church in need.